It is Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham, and it's also mailbag time. So get those questions in, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, it's a guarantee to get on the show. We got F. Marsh kicking things off. Welcome back. If Ryan Poles isn't willing to fire Matt Eberflus, should he be fired too? It's an interesting question, and remember, Ryan Poles, even though the Bears had finalists for coaches, he was allowed to interview more coaches, and he kind of stuck to those finalists, and he chose Matt Eberflus. And I'll say this, I'll put this on record right now. I would rather fire both than keep both. I like Ryan. I think he's done some good things. He's definitely had some misses, but I don't think he's like guilt-free of the Bears' shortcomings either. Like, he's had some key misses. He chose Matt Eberflus. Like, he's not disconnected from this situation, if you will. So if he doesn't have the balls to do it, now I'll give him till the offseason to do it, but to me, like, if he goes to Kevin Warren after the season, is like, I think we should keep Flus for another season. Like, if I'm Kevin Warren, I might just fire both right there, because that's alarming to me if that would be the case. So I'd rather fire both than keep both. I'm open to keeping Poles, but it's not a priority for me. Like, if he has to go too, that's perfectly fine. Where are you at with Ryan Poles? Type F for fire him or K for keep him. I'd probably lean keep him for now, but I'm totally fine with the full reset too. Like, I got no problem with that. Get your votes in down in the comment section. We got Henry Forte. If we fire Matt Eberflus, who is going to be the defensive coordinator? Who is going to call the defense? I don't care. I keep getting asked this. I don't care. The Raiders fired their head coach, who was also their offensive coordinator, and called the plays. Who's going to call plays? They also fired their offensive coordinator by title, I believe, and they just promoted Antonio Pierce as head coach and some other guy. They're 2-1 since then. Like, you have 6 games left. These guys on this coaching staff have coached in the NFL. Like, you can get through 6 games. Andrew Janocko calls the offense if you fire Getsy. John Hoke calls the defense if you fire Matt Eberflus, and you get through the final 6 weeks. The playbooks are still in place. You just have someone else calling it. It's perfectly fine. Sager Galani saw Drake Maye play this weekend. Not impressed at all. Caleb are running with Fields next year 100%, but we'll take Maye and be drafting top 5 the next 5 years. Drake Maye didn't have his best game. I also thought Clemson kind of put the clamps on a lot of those receivers. The pick late was not great, but I think before this past weekend, Maye had actually been playing better than Williams. Look, it's going to be back and forth. I told you last week I was slightly leaning Maye over Williams. Williams had a better week, I thought. It's going to go back and forth throughout this draft process. I've also said I'm open to keeping Fields in the right scenario. Probably not with this coaching staff. I think you'd have to go with the new staff, but it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's a clear-cut decision right now if you are the Bears. Jeff Cowell, how did Eberflus pass the interview with Poles with his lack of speaking ability? It's a great question. I mean, I'd love to have access to that interview. I mean, I'm not joking. You guys let me know in the comments. How much money would you pay to have access to the Ryan Poles interviewing Matt Eberflus, the final interview that got him that job? How much money would you pay to have that? I think I'd pay $1,500. Like, I would love to see how Matt Eberflus convinced Ryan Poles to hire him, because, my goodness, he really struggles to talk in front of people. Ding Chavez, would we be better or worse if we stuck with Trubisky and instead drafted Parsons or Slater in 2021?
Better.
Producer Rolly chiming in. Statistically, as a Bear, Trubisky was better. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to, the raw numbers will show that, but I think with quarterback, you really have to trust the eyes. Like, take the numbers out of it. Take the wins and losses out of it. They were different teams, different rosters, totally different scenarios. You can't tell me you think Mitch is a better quarterback than Justin. Like, I know Rolly will chime in again and say he is. The talent disparity really isn't that close. And I think that'll prove itself over time, because I think Justin will go somewhere and get a chance to start. Mitch never got a chance to start somewhere because he's not that highly regarded elsewhere.
But Harrison, Mitch was the number 2 overall pick.
Yes.
Justin was just at 11. How could he be more talented?
Great decision by Ryan Pace, trading up one spot when he didn't have to draft Mitchell Trubisky, who I don't even dislike, but Justin's clearly more talented and capable. All right, today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. Rolly, you got more than on the Trubisky passing yards this week? Oh, wait, he's a backup. Although maybe they'll bench Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh.
Bench Kenny Pickett.
PrizePicks, the best daily fantasy sports app on the planet. You can pick anywhere from 2 to 6 players on any given entry and start cashing in. NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball. You can cross over sports on your entries as well. It's a whole lot of fun. Get started right now. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get started today. Join rapper Meek Mill, comedian Andrew Schultz, and several other PrizePicks players and place your entries right now. Doesn't matter the sport. They got you covered. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. That code CLNS will match your deposit match when you sign up to $100. Okay, Mike Nintendo Master, what is the biggest offensive need? I mean, look, if you're unsold on quarterback, then it's quarterback. But take quarterback out of it, it's clearly center. I mean, I think the rest of the offensive line is actually pretty solid. The running back room is good, plenty good. I think you need another receiver, but I think it's center, then it's receiver, with the quarterback discussion obviously being in play as well. Christian, Jack Sanborn greater than Tremaine. Completely agree. Tweeted it out during the game on Sunday. I know Edmonds got that pick. It was tipped kind of right to him, but I don't dislike Tremaine. I just think you paid him $18 million per year, and he doesn't make a lot of splash plays. Like, Jack Sanborn's rock solid for less than $1 million per year. He's better than Tremaine Edmonds, and especially when you factor in the price. Jackson Elkins, do you think Caleb Williams' off-the-field stuff, such as not shaking hands with opponents and avoiding the media after a loss, will impact Poles wanting to draft him? It's hard to say. I mean, Poles talks about character a lot. I will say this. You know who didn't shake opponents' hands a lot after games in his NFL career? Producer Rolly knows. That is one Thomas Edward Brady. I don't care if you shake the opponent's hand as long as you win. Now, Caleb Williams lost 5 games this year, so I don't know. I mean, when you evaluate these quarterbacks, you don't just evaluate the tape. You evaluate who they are as people. You evaluate if they have leadership skills, background. Like, all that stuff is going to come into play. So I think it will factor into the evaluation. Will it just take away Poles wanting to draft him? I don't know if he wants to draft him. So there's going to be a deep evaluation there. There's no doubt about that. We're going to have Bears draft coverage for the next several months because the Bears right now have the number 1 pick. They also have a second top 5 pick. It's going to be hectic, and we're going to be here for all of it. So hit that subscribe button and do not miss out of our draft coverage. Styles G with the super chat. Appreciate it. Bojack and possibly Jalen Johnson replacements. Tyler Nubin, the safety. TJ Tampa, the cornerback. Both are legit tacklers and ball hawks if Jalen Johnson doesn't get a deal done. Let me first say this before I talk about potential replacements. I do think Eddie Jackson's probably getting cut. Now, maybe he wants to stay with the Bears and takes a huge pay cut, plays another season here. It's possible. But I do think this is probably it for him. I think Jalen Johnson's getting franchise tagged. That's where I think this is heading. I don't think the Bears are going to pay him top dollar. And he's too good to just let hit the market. With getting the Montez Sweat deal done, I think the franchise tag is coming. And then if you can't work out a long-term deal, you either let him go the next year or, hopefully you can sign him to a long-term deal the next season. Ray 35, my nightmare is Fields will be on another team. My nightmare is Fields will be awesome on another team. Like, that's what I'm worried about. Like, I watched the game yesterday, and I'm like, you can't tell me teams around the league aren't, like, don't look at that game and are like, man, I can win with this guy. Like, call me crazy, and maybe for this year the answer is no. You're Brad Holmes, the Lions GM, and Dan Campbell. Behind closed doors, lie detector. Who gives us a better chance to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? Jared Goff, Justin Fields. I bet they at least think about it. Jared Goff was not good yesterday. Like, I look at that game and I'm like, the Lions are a damn good team, but is he really going to go beat 3 or 4 really good opponents in the playoffs? That seems unlikely to me. So, it's interesting. I'm worried about it too, Ray, and I think there's a good chance it's going to happen. Wesley Lewis, I believe that a total reset needs to happen at season's end. Someone with unlimited resources like Jeff Bezos needs to buy the Bears. I don't think the Bears are selling, at least not right now. I think the McCaskey is going to keep it at least until a new stadium comes, maybe a few years into that after they kind of reap the benefits of that, the increase of the franchise's worth, which is already huge, then they might consider selling. But I think you're at least 10 years away from that, unfortunately. Benjamin Jones, Poles tanking on purpose so he doesn't fire Flus. Why would tanking keep Flus? Like, after this, like, is he telling behind closed door, hey, like, doesn't matter if we lose, you can stay. Like, I think this is what he's saying. He's saying that Flus, keeping him employed helps you tank, so that's why I'm not firing him. Like, he's worried if he fires Flus mid-season, the new guy might win some games here. I think that's where Benjamin's going, and maybe Benjamin, I don't think that's true, but I like where you're thinking there. Who do you want as the Bears' next head coach? Who do you want? And if you want to keep Matt Eberflus, you can type Matt Eberflus, but if I see any Matt Eberflus comments, I'm going to assume you're either a Lions, Packers, or Vikings fan, or you are in Matt Eberflus's immediate family. DC Viper, Monty was proof last night that any player who leaves Chicago has success. If I'm Fields, I'm begging to be traded. Your thoughts? I do think Justin, I do wonder in the back of his head if he's like, he'll never say it out loud, but if I'm him, I'm thinking, hey, if I just play well, I'm in a good situation regardless. They're going to keep me, I'm going to start, or some team's going to trade for me to start. You cannot tell me Atlanta wouldn't trade for Justin Fields right now. They would win the NFC South with Justin Fields. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you don't think they'd be interested in Justin Fields over Kenny Pickett? They're 6-4, and Kenny Pickett is horrible. Shout out to Roley. He called this last year. He is horrific. They might go to Trubisky. That's how bad Kenny Pickett is. So
what is that supposed to mean?
It means Kenny Pickett sucks. Mitch might be a little bit better.
Might be is a weird way to put it.
Clearly better. Let's go to Marcus here. Say we keep Fields. Would you rather take Marvin Harrison, Olu, or Marvin Harrison and Bowers? Dude, it's a great question, man, because I think Braxton Jones is playing pretty well. Darnell Wright's been really good. The last play sucked. Hutch finally got him. But before that last play, he kind of held Hutchinson in check in that game. Had a couple penalties, but otherwise he was really good. This offense could be insane if they got MHJ and Brock Bowers. Think about the weapons you would have. You'd have DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, Cole Kmet, bring back Darnell Mooney maybe on a team-friendly deal. That is freaking lethal, man. That's hard to screw up if that's your personnel. So it's interesting. The thing about Bowers, too, is he can block. So, in a way, it is kind of adding some good protection as well up front. All right, a lot of good questions there. Appreciate you guys. If you want to continue the conversation, at HGramNFL on Twitter, that is where you can find me, at HGramNFL on Twitter. Same handle on Instagram as well if you have any Bears questions.